we are live. Let's see. 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. 5 4 5 4. Let me know if you could hear me. Let me know if you could see me. It was my microphone was a little hot yesterday, so I'm hoping the microphone is a little better right now. Can you hear me? Can you see me? How's the audio? Is my microphone better today? Let me know, let me know, let me know. 1 2 1 2. 5 4 5 4. Better? Ghost camera? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I had Ty, old friend of Status Coup, help me with the coloring scheme here. And apparently you don't like the color. So we'll have to work on the color. But is the audio better? All right, you hear me loud and clear? Because yesterday, boy, was that audio popping, baby. Was that audio popping. Let me just send out the text message to the peeps because Jen's not feeling well, still suffering with coronavirus, so she can't be in the chat today. So I have to send out the text message. Give me a second. 721-3427. All right. I think I just sent out the text message. And let me just retweet this on Twitter, and we could start this broadcast. So I hope everyone's having an okay day. Obviously, the weekend. As of now, going live, we have over 2,000 people have died here in the United States of COVID today. So we will see what the number is by the end of the day. Yesterday, again, over 3,000 people dead in the country with coronavirus. We're seeing records every single day. So it's just devastating, and it's only going to get worse. And as the death count, and please smash that like button. We got over 100 people watching, but 50 of you have pressed the like button. So please smash that like button. It really, really helps. I know that Jen is really, really appreciative. Everybody who has been sending emails. So if you want to send her your well wishes, it's info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com. If you missed yesterday, I gave you an update. Her doctor has said that she, unfortunately, is what they consider one of the COVID long haulers, which with coronavirus, typically, if you have it and survive, typically it's about 10 days to 14 days is the worst of it, and then you start feeling significantly better. But for a certain subset of people, it could take at least 4 to 5 weeks. So she is past 4 weeks now. And she sends it to me every day, her little thermometer reading, and it's continuing to remain like 99.5, 99.6, so a low fever. So everybody, if you want to send her your well wishes, info@statuscoup.com. She's also having some nausea. That's one symptom, is gastrointestinal issues with coronavirus. And she has really bad fatigue. The morning is typically better. That's when we talk. She's not as worn out in the morning, but then the fatigue gets worse and worse during the day, and she's been sleeping a lot. So let's go. Right now, and please send super chats. We need it. Right now, we are at a point in this country, which, by the way, is not a country. We live in the United Corporations of America, as you know. We are at a point, the death toll. I just told you, over 2,000 people so far dead today. Probably going to hit another day of nearly 3,000 people dead because of coronavirus. And we are literally, they can't even pass a horrendous shit sandwich of $900 billion, which I went through yesterday. This is a ridiculous, absurd, pathetic amount of money in an economic catastrophe. They are offering $900 billion, which is $300 a week unemployment. If you're lucky, you will get that unemployment promptly. I mean, the $600 a week, it was a bureaucratic nightmare for most people to get that money. I know people that it took weeks, if not months, to get that unemployment. Then they are, being so charitable to offer potentially a $600 check? What are you going to do with $600? Are you kidding me? People have been unemployed for months. $600 check? That is a Band-Aid for a gaping gunshot wound. And keep pressing that like button. 215 people watching. Smash the like button. And let me know how the mic is, because yesterday I was going a little hot. So let me lower the mic. So what you have here is there's only two senators. A Republican, Josh Hawley, who's probably trying to angle to run for president in 2024, and Bernie Sanders, fighting for even a $1,200 check, which, let me be clear, $1,200 is also a joke. The original coronavirus bill, which you've seen it, was the great bank robbery. Trump, McConnell, they looted the Treasury. They sold you on the CARES Act, which was literally a $4 trillion blowjob, excuse my French, to corporate America. They sprinkled in some relief for working people, $600 a week unemployment, $1,200 check. But the main core of this CARES Act was $4 trillion unaccountable money to multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates that did not need the money. And Pelosi agreed to it. Biden as a candidate agreed to it. The Democrats agreed to it. We got nothing long-term for it, and they allowed it to expire in July. So now the government funding bill is run out. If they don't reach a deal today on government funding, the government's going to shut down during a pandemic. At the same time, a lot of the provisions of the CARES Act, which already expired in July, more expire now towards the end of the year, including the eviction moratorium and other provisions. So we are being sold, we got to accept this $900 billion stopgap. A $900 billion stopgap. Elmer, don't buy a gun. No violence. Well, a gun to protect yourself, but don't be violent. Non-violent revolution. They're framing it, and I told you this yesterday, as a $900 billion emergency stopgap to get us over till President Biden comes in, and he'll give us more. So today, Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican, credit where credit is due, who's been working with Bernie Sanders, took to the floor for an up and down vote, an up or down vote on a $1,200 check. Standalone $1,200 check, which again, to be clear, is not enough. I'm not cheering for a $1,200 check. For most people, that might give them like an ounce of relief, but not anywhere near what they need in this economic catastrophe. Bernie, obviously, and Hawley have been working together. Oh, where's Elizabeth Warren? I don't hear her saying a goddamn word. She ain't fighting for a $1,200 check. She's still licking her wounds. She sold Bernie down the river in 2016 and 2020, and she can't even get a parking pass in the Biden administration, much less a position. And smash that like button. We got 320 people watching. 177 of you have pressed that like button. Thumbs up. Please, if you don't mind, give us a little super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thomas Horter, $2. So Hawley put forward $1,200 check, straight up. Let's see what Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin had to say about that.
Senator Sanders the senator from Vermont is talking about we need the $600 plus up for the unemployed because of the suffering. President Obama, with Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Reid with filibuster-proof Senate, they provided a $25 per week plus up to state unemployment when they had total control. Now they're demanding $600. I know that's not part of what the senator from Vermont is asking for in terms of a unanimous consent request, I thought is just somewhat noteworthy. So again, Madam President, I'm not heartless. I want to help people. I voted to help people. I voted for the $2.2 trillion CARES Act, but I also am concerned about our children's future and the fact that we are mortgaging it. We do not have an unlimited checking account. We have to be concerned about these things.
Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, my children's future. I'm Senator Ron Johnson. I represent the United Corporations of America, and I'm deeply concerned about our children's future. And oh, by the way, you know how much I'm worth, Ron Johnson? $39 fucking million, this asshole. He's worth $39 million. And my numbers might be off. That's from 2018, according to Open Secrets. This man. $39 million. Talking like he's doing us some type of favor by passing a $2.2 trillion stimulus during an unprecedented pandemic. And now he's so worried about our children's future. Oh, the children. The Republicans, they love talking about the children. They don't give a flying fuck about the children if it means $1.5 trillion in tax breaks for them, their donors, corporations, which Trump passed. They don't give a flying fuck about the children, and it's giving an blank check to the military to go bomb and behead and destroy and kill Muslims and brown people around the world. That we could afford. They certainly don't care about the children when they're giving blank checks for subsidies to Goldman Sachs and the fossil fuckers and big pharma and big real estate and Silicon Valley. Oh, the children, the children, the children. But when 1.4 million Americans filed new unemployment claims last week, highest level in weeks, when over 20 million people are on unemployment as we head into the holidays. This is from yesterday. Over 20 million people on unemployment. The new numbers came out. Over 8 million more people are now in poverty because of coronavirus. And this asshole, and by the way, it's not just him. They're all rich. Republicans are rich. Democrats are rich. We got millionaires in Congress and in the Senate making decisions for us. He's worth $39 million. And if I had time, I would look into how he made that money. But I'm going to take a guess it was not because he works so hard. I'm sure there's a lot of corruption in there. And if you're from Wisconsin in the Super Chat, feel free to let us know about the kind senator. So let's hear what else Mr. Johnson had to say about, saving the children's future.
So my complaint about the Senator from Vermont's bill, and quite honestly, the bipartisan effort, we have $600 billion unspent, unobligated. Let's work long and hard. Let's look at economic data. Let's target it properly. Let's not just shotgun it out to the economy again, wasting tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars. Let's focus on that. Let's pretend it's like real money, like it's our money, and spend it well. We don't need to mortgage.
So I need somebody worth nearly $40 million to tell me and you how to spend our money? I don't care how you think, how you, Ron Johnson, think our money should be spent. I am fortunate. My wife and I are fortunate. We're not on those bread lines in Texas and elsewhere. Okay? There are food lines all over this country. I know people in Flint and elsewhere that I have covered in deep, deep shit right now, economically, facing homelessness. This person, and it's not just Ron Johnson, but I'm just going to have a good time and go off on him. Let's get back. Thank you, Colin, for this graphic. This asshole, and by the way, it ain't just him. Dianne Feinstein, and she's worth $1 gazillion. Mark Warner, who was attacking Bernie, he's worth over $200 million. It is sociopath after sociopath. Not only do we need term limits, we need a cap on how much money our representatives can be worth. And if you're over a certain cap, I don't want you in the halls of Congress. But who the hell is Ron Johnson, who, by the way, blocked Senator Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders' standalone bill for that a $1,200 check, which, by the way, again, is not enough, but it's better than the shit they're serving up right now. He blocked it, citing our children's future. Who are you, sir, to decide how our money should be spent? Your constituents in Wisconsin and an overwhelming amount of polls say people all over the country, including Wisconsin, overwhelmingly support more money in stimulus, more unemployment, more direct payment. And you're going to give me the birds and the bees about the debt and the deficit when you didn't give a goddamn about the debt and the deficit when it came to a $1.5 trillion tax cut for your donors and for corporate America from Trump? You don't care about the debt when it comes to endless war, 20 years in Afghanistan next year? We're funneling money to Saudi Arabia so they could commit genocide in Yemen. All the money we spent and funneled to Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and Pfizer and ExxonMobil and Goldman Sachs, they all get subsidies from the United Corporations of America. We don't care about our children's future for those expenditures.
Mortgage our children's future by another $300 or $400 billion. We don't need to do that. We can alleviate suffering. We can help our fellow Americans. We could have done it in September, but the good senator from Vermont and all of his colleagues on the Democrat side simply won't take yes for an answer, and my guess is they're taking that same stance today. So, Madam President, I object.
Objection is heard. Senator from Vermont.
Senator from Wisconsin talks about Democrats not taking yes for an answer. So let me tell you what we did not take for an answer. We did not take for an answer the Republican bill which did not have a nickel for unemployment benefits. We did not take yes for an answer for a bill that did not have a nickel for direct payments. Senator from Wisconsin talks about the deficit. Yet the senator from Wisconsin voted for over $1 trillion in tax breaks for billionaires and large profitable corporations. That's okay. Senator from Wisconsin voted for a bloated military budget, $740 billion. That's okay. Senator from Wisconsin supports hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in corporate welfare. A senator from Wisconsin threw out some numbers. Let me throw out some other numbers. Half of the people in this country are living paycheck to paycheck. Millions of workers are trying to survive on starvation wages of 10 or 12 bucks an hour. 90 million people are uninsured or underinsured, can't afford to go to a doctor. 19 million families spending half of their limited incomes on housing. Madam President, today we have the most severe hunger crisis in America that we have had in decades. Children in this country are going hungry, while 500,000 people are homeless, and many millions more fear eviction. Today, as a result of the pandemic, not only do we have the worst health care crisis in 100 years, but the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. So, Madam President, I say to my colleague from Wisconsin, yeah, I will not support proposals that do not provide a nickel in unemployment benefits, not a nickel in direct relief to tens of millions of low-income and middle-income families. So, Madam President, I would hope very much that this Congress appreciates the pain that is out there, and that instead of worrying about tax breaks for billionaires or corporate welfare, let's pay attention to the needs of working families, and let us pass legislation which includes $1,200 direct payment to working class families, as we did in the CARES Act, $500 to their kids, and certainly not taking a nickel away from unemployment and the other important provisions that are currently being negotiated.
So, listen, I've criticized Bernie during the primary. I've criticized him after the primary. I think he was weak. I think he was naive. But for the people, these extremists, and by the way, I said it to Jimmy's face. I don't agree with you. For the people calling this man a sellout, a coward, feckless, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck are you? You don't have to agree with him on everything. This man has been fighting for you for 40 years. A sellout. Yeah, because he single-handedly couldn't overthrow the United Corporations of America? I don't agree with him on everything. I think he is naive. And frankly, not that he's watching, would like Bernie with Josh Hawley to shut down the goddamn government if they have to tonight. The funding bill for the government is up today. If they don't come to an agreement, the government will run out of money. Now is the time to fight. Let me crystallize once more, if you missed the show yesterday, and we got 715 people watching, 340 of you have pressed the like button. Press the like button. I want to make sure you understand what's going on here. Joe Biden, the Democratic Party, all of them, they are lying to you. Glasses off. They are lying to you. You could see my bags under my eyes. If this $900 billion bill, which is a joke, it's half a Band-Aid for a gaping gunshot wound. This would be the equivalent economically of your village being bombed. Okay? Your village has been bombed. That's what the economy is right now. And the relief is them dropping Band-Aids with helicopters as everybody's bleeding out. $300 a week unemployment, I don't want to hear, oh, it's better than nothing. No, $300 a week will not do it. And by the way, the other countries, the other civilized countries don't do unemployment systems like we do because it's a bureaucratic nightmare. And you're not going to get that $300 immediately a week. You know if you've been on unemployment. Is it seamless? Do you get the money right away? So $300 a week? Not enough. What they're talking about right now is a $600 check. The economy has gotten worse since March and April when you got a $1,200 check, which was also not enough. Now you're talking about a $600 check? Well, I understand the devil's advocate. Well, Jordan, it's better than nothing. Well, if we continue to accept this, well, it's better than nothing paradigm, we're going to be getting crumbs till we're all dead and long after we're dead. $600 if you've been unemployed for months, what's that going to do? Maybe it will, if you're, something's wrong with your car, it could help pay that. You got a couple utility bills. It's not going to cover your rent. It's not going to cover your mortgage. It's not going to cover whatever bills that have been piling up while you're unemployed. The $600 will go back into the economy. Yeah, $600 technically is better than nothing. The point is, if people are bleeding out economically, $600 is not going to save them. It might give a little spark to the economy, but it's not going to save you if you are economically bleeding. Neither will $1,200, by the way. It's a slap in the face, $600. And by the way, they are talking, and this ridiculous framing that, well, if we do any more, if we give Bernie and Senator Josh Hawley what they want and go up to $1,200, then we're going to have to shrink the amount of weeks for unemployment, or shrink the amount that people get in unemployment. No, you don't. This is a false paradigm. This is a false choice. We have the money for all of this. It's called modern monetary theory. I've had Steve Grumbine on many times. Stephanie Kelton talks about it. We have the money for this. When you're in an economic crisis and a looming Great Depression, you don't check the balance sheet to make sure, you don't increase the debt enough. We don't ask these questions when we go to the Iraq War. We don't ask these questions 20 years in Afghanistan. We don't ask these questions for increasing the military budget to $752 billion last year. I agree. Flashy Brown, only getting $1,200 a month was a slap in the face. $600 is getting pimp slapped. I like that. By the way, Canada is giving its citizens $500 a week. That's $2,000 a month. Europe, the government is simply covering the payrolls. People aren't unemployment. They're not on unemployment. They're still employed, and the government is just covering the payrolls. You want to know why? Because in other countries, there's corruption, yes. Not like the United Corporations of America. They actually care about possibly providing for their citizens during a deadly pandemic. And we have Ron Johnson worth $39 million, which is, by the way, pennies compared to some of these other senators. I think Kelly Loeffler, running in Georgia right now, worth a hell of a lot more. Lecturing us about, well, we don't want to, strangle the children. Children's future? Who the fuck is going to be alive to even procreate? How are we going to have a next generation if the current generation is bleeding out? Am I being too dramatic, folks? Your children's future? My wife and I, we just got married. There's the ring. Okay? Usually, you're married for a little bit, then you have a baby, right? We're fortunate that we're not on the breadlines right now. But for those that are you going to start procreating when you don't know? When you don't know if you're going to have a roof over your head in 2 months? If you haven't had a job in months? No, don't start the rumors. No baby coming yet. He's probably going to be mad at me for even talking about it. Diapers are like $45 a box. This is outrageous. And you want to know something? Bernie, I love you. But it's time to take on verbally the Democratic Party, too. You do it sometimes. Now's the time to do it. Because the Democratic negotiators are going along with this farce of $900 billion. Let me explain what's going to happen, okay? If you agree to $900 billion now, $300 a week unemployment, $600 fairy dust check, under the guise that, thank you, Sarah, $10. Exactly. Shut the fuck up. These trolls sit in their garage and complain. Go to Congress in the Lion's Den and see how easy it is to pass a legislation for the average American. We need $1,200 retroactive. I agree. But if you agree to this now, in what world is Joe Biden coming in as president after $900 billion just passed and he's going to be able to pass a better stimulus. Let's just look at what has happened. In March or April, I forget, they passed the $2 trillion bank robbery known as the CARES Act. They haven't been able to pass anything since then. So that was April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That was 9 months ago. If you agree, if this goes through, this pathetic emergency bill, the Republicans aren't going to give Joe Biden any votes. They're going to say, we've already given you $2.9 trillion, $2 trillion in the CARES Act, and another $900 billion in whatever this act is going to be called. All of a sudden, the Republicans, there will be a Democrat president, they're going to start caring about the debt. This is what happens when Republicans are in power. They don't give a flying fuck about the debt. When they're back in the minority, oh my God, house on fire, the debt, our children's future. They're not going to vote. They're not going to give any votes. Maybe Mitt Romney. They're not going to give any more votes for additional stimulus. What they're going to do is they're going to kick and scream. They're not giving Biden any votes. Biden's not going to be able to pass anything extra. The Republicans are going to sit back, watch the economy tank, blame it on the Democrats, and then the Democrats are going to get wiped out in the 2022 midterms. Bookmark this video. That's what's going to happen, folks. So if you allow or agree to this shit sandwich, and I understand what you're saying. Let's say, for argument's sake, devil's advocate, okay? If you're unemployed right now, you might say to Jordan, well, Jordan, I agree with you, but I'll take the $300 a week, even though I'm not going to get it right away. You're lucky if you get it in a few weeks with this bureaucratic nightmare that is the state unemployment system. But Jordan, $300 is better than nothing. But Jordan, a $600 check is better than nothing. Well, I understand, and I'm not the one unemployed. I understand that. But the point is, we have to get out of this endless complacency. We have to get out of this endless cycle of being content with nothing. We have to get out of this endless cycle of allowing them to gaslight us that nothing more is possible. And if you keep accepting crumbs, eventually you're going to go hungry and die. Crumbs isn't enough to sustain a life. So I hope Bernie Sanders, in that 79-year-old body, and keep that mask on, has enough, as my grandma, may she rest in peace, would say, chutzpah, with Josh Hawley, who I don't know anything about him. He's a Republican. I'm sure he's corrupt. But on this, I agree. At least he's on the right side of this. They should say, we are not going to vote to keep the government open. We will vote to close down the government, to shut down the government. We will block the continuing resolution for the government unless we get a $1,200 check and, frankly, more in unemployment. And I want to be extremely clear with you. I want to be abundantly clear. I'm not okay with the $1,200 check either. I think that's a joke. I think, frankly, when the vaccine is widely distributed, I think we need a general strike in this country. I think we need an economic boycott. Everybody's having a big fucking pissing match on the internet. Jimmy Dore versus AOC versus David Sirota versus this versus that about a floor vote on Medicare for All. I gave my opinion yesterday. I lost like 100 subscribers because I dared to disagree with Jimmy on something. I agree with Jimmy on the actual thing. I agree with them on not voting for Pelosi and withholding your vote for Pelosi to demand a Medicare for All vote. But I lost 100 subscribers because I had the gall not to bow down to the God that is Jimmy Dore, who, by the way, is my friend and I like, and say, hey, if your goal is to actually pressure AOC and the progressives to do what you want them to do, maybe you should stop calling them fucking frauds, fucking sellouts, fucking phonies, fucking this, fucking that. Because typically, when you call people Lucifer, it makes them not want to do what you want them to do. I'm just speaking out loud here. but apparently just saying, yes, I agree with them on the merits, and I'm with you. I'm with you. Pressure them. I've been tweeting critical things at AOC, but there's a difference between criticizing and doing a pressure campaign and then crossing the line into vitriol. And, and then people were like, Jordan, stop with the tone police. Do you all, here's the thing. Are you all, the people that unsubscribed and are mad that I said I think the way he's going about it is wrong, are you more interested in having an angry group therapy on YouTube and hearing someone rant and rave and scream and cheering that on? Or do you want to win? Because if you want to have an angry group therapy and call every politician that doesn't agree with you 1,000% fucking cowards and fucking sellouts and fucking this and fucking that, fine. If your goal is to just feel good and have an angry group therapy session, then that's the way to go. But if you want to win, I don't know. If somebody's calling me a fucking this, a fucking that, a fucking that, I generally don't listen to them. That's just me. So I agree with the idea. I don't agree with the way he's going at them. I think you could pressure them. I think you could demand answers without dropping F-bombs and calling them, degenerates, basically. That's my opinion. Whatever. Hello, $5. Got to speak with you when you were in Philly. Thanks for all you do and keep on with the good fight. I agree with you about Jimmy, by the way. And by the way, I agree with Jimmy on the idea. I think it's amazing that he's even raised it in the public consciousness. I think it's a major accomplishment what he has done. He has got this even in the discussion to demand a floor vote. And I showed you yesterday, thank you, Colin, who did this great graphic, we have the leverage to demand a Medicare for all floor vote in exchange for voting for Pelosi. Right there is the 7. Some people responded on comments. Mark Pocon, he's not really progressive, this and that. He might not be as progressive as Bernie. He endorsed Bernie. He campaigned for Bernie. I was there. I met him in the field. He supports Medicare for all. That's all I'm talking about. Is he the most progressive? Maybe not. My point is, he supports Medicare for all. So does Jayapal. So does Ro, Ayanna, Ilhan, Rashida, AOC. Then the bottom row is the incoming people. Then you have a question mark, possibly Nina Turner. That's more than enough to block Pelosi as speaker if you have the will to do it. And I'm tired of hearing the strategic points and why it's bad strategy, this and that. At the end of the day, you're not going to... By the way, I don't think Medicare for all is going to pass right now, even if you do get a floor vote. But you don't ultimately get electoral success or policy success without failures before, without failing 1 time, 2 times, 5 times, 10 times. Gay marriage failed over and over and over again, legislatively and then in the courts until it won. But you don't win without fighting in the first place. So that's why you do the floor vote. You get people on the record. And my point is, whether it's about the Medicare for all fight for that, or right now, Bernie and other progressives should be saying, I will not vote. I will block a continuing resolution for the government to stay open. I will block it if we don't get at least, at a minimum, a $1,200 check for everybody and more unemployment. And by the way, go after Biden too, because Biden is talking like, yeah, let's have them do this $900 billion as a down payment. And then when I'm president, I'll pass a bigger package. That's bullshit. He's not going to get anything done. He thinks, he has some magical powers to, reinvigorate the good old days when Democrats and Republicans crossed the aisle to work together. Well, first of all, Obama barely got his stimulus passed, which wasn't enough in 2009, and he had the full House and the full Senate, and he barely got the stimulus passed. So how is Joe Biden going to pass a better deal than this, which is he's claiming, accept this deal now, $900 billion, a $600 check, which is whoever said that's like a pimp slap in the face, and $300 a week. how is he going to get a better amount, a higher amount passed when Republicans, as of now, it appears they will still control the Senate? We don't know, but I don't think both of those Democrats are going to win that Georgia seat, those Georgia seats. Republicans are not giving Joe Biden anything more. They're going to say exactly this. We've given $2.9 trillion, $2 trillion in March and April, $900 billion in December. The vaccine is now being distributed. It'll be widely distributed by April or May to the entire public. We can't give any more. We got to think about our children and grandchildren and the debt and the deficit. That's what's going to happen. So I really hope that Bernie and Josh Hawley, and if Elizabeth Warren still has a pulse, we all know about Elizabeth Warren. Holy cow, Destruck 2008, $100 in the super chat, Destruck. Thank you so much. That is incredibly generous of you. I support your years of reporting on water protectors and staying with it after all the trouble you've been through. To get real news, there are not many sources left. Hold the vote, get a real stimulus package, and help us fix this country. People's Party. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I've covered the People's Party. I covered their conference. I'm not against it. I'm for whatever's going to win. I'm tired. I don't give a shit about purity right now. I want to win. We need to seize power away from these sociopaths, depriving us of life-saving economic assistance during a pandemic. So thank you for the kind words and the super chat. That's very kind of you. James, $10. Been a fan since I saw you reporting on Standing Rock years ago. I hope this helps prevent you think you need to change. You're one of the few people I trust to report accurate news. You could ask my wife. I'm kind of a stubborn fuck, so I'm not going to be changing. I'm not changing. We just passed 100,000 subscribers. We are growing. Thank the Lord. We are growing. Sign up as a member, statuscoup.com/join. We're getting our membership back up after losing a lot of members because of the coronavirus. We hope to get to 2,000 soon. So please, if you can, $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join, statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. I really appreciate all our members. And tentatively, we're hoping, Jen's feeling up to it, tentatively we're going to have our monthly members call next week. So if you're a member, you know the drill. A lot of fun, our monthly members calls. And let me put it in here. $5. So, oh, wow. Just got another. Holy cow. Just got another. Eric G, $100. I'm a huge JD fan, and Jimmy's right about calling them sellouts when AOC and Bernie won't endorse progressive candidates. Ask Cory Bush. You are awesome, Jordan, and so is Jimmy. Find some common ground and work together. We need an army to win. Thank you so much for the $100. So, Eric, let me explain to you, and I don't mean that in like a condescending way, because I don't really think people, I think people are just hearing me criticize Jimmy's articulation and thinking that means we're not working together. I'm one of the first people that came out publicly saying I agree with Jimmy's. I think I actually interviewed him a couple weeks ago and said, I 100% agree with you on this blocking Pelosi as speaker, withholding our votes against Pelosi in exchange, unless she allows a floor vote. I think it's very important to have that floor vote with a debate. We need debate on the floor, not just the vote. What I'm talking about, I'm not talking like AOC, like strategically it would be a bad idea to have a floor vote. No, it would be a good idea to have a floor vote. What I'm saying is there's a difference between, as Jimmy says, being a jagoff comedian, ranting and raving, okay? That's fine. It's cool. His audience loves it. I love it. I watch his videos. I enjoy it. Everybody loves that angry, angry uncle, so to speak. But if you're actually trying to get something done, not just be a YouTube host, but get something done, you are pushing the people that you're trying to persuade to actually do what you want to do, i.e. AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna, the progressives in the House. When you're calling them every vile name in the book, and this is called status coup. I'm no saint and I'm no prude, and I have some bombastic language sometimes. But if I don't do this because I'm a journalist, but if I was cooking up a pressure campaign to convince certain politicians to launch a pressure campaign to get them to do what I want them to do, the last thing I would be doing is calling them very publicly a fucking sellout, a fucking fraud, a fucking phony, a fucking this, a fucking that. It might make you, the viewer, highly happy and highly entertained and give you something to cheer about and satisfy your righteous anger and your right to be angry. But it's going to push them away from doing what you want them to do. Why? Because they're human beings. They're wrong for not doing it, but they're human beings. So when you continually attack, there's a difference between pressuring people and criticizing them. I mean, I just tweeted the other day in response to AOC, this is what somebody twisting themselves into a human pretzel looks like. Because I thought her rationalizations for not doing what Jimmy is advocating is bullshit. But do you see the difference between saying this is somebody twisting themselves into a human pretzel and that versus you're a fucking phony fraud, you're a fucking sellout, you're a fucking this? That's my point. It's not disagreeing with him on the idea. It's if you want to persuade them and pressure people to come to your corner to do what you want them to do, you can't antagonize them to the point of vitriol. I'm sorry if you don't agree. I'm sorry if people think that is tone policing. I saw some comments that I'm soft, that I'm a sellout. No, I actually want to win. I want to convince them to do it. You're not going to convince them to do what you want them to do. I think he truly believes that talking that way is going to convince them to do what he wants them to do. I'm telling you, it's not. It's not. It's actually making them hate you. It's actually making them think you're a jerk off. And it's drowning out the actual idea. That's the point I'm trying to make. You're drowning out the actual idea to force the Medicare for All vote because your vitriol is making the whole discussion about you, Jimmy Dore. I don't give a shit whose idea it was. Jimmy's my friend, but I'm actually not going to bow down to him when I don't think he's right, even if it loses me subscribers. And I lost almost 100 subscribers yesterday for daring to say what I'm saying now, but I'm just not going to go for clicks. That's just not how I roll. So I agree with him on the merits. I disagree with how he's talking to them. Zach, $5. You have to work within the system you are operating. I agree and I disagree. Right now, they have an opportunity within that system because they have the numbers. I already showed you. We have the numbers. Pelosi to get reelected as Speaker, she needs 218 votes. That's a simple majority in the House of Representatives, 218 votes. Right now, the Democrats have the majority by 4 votes. 4 votes. Right now, 222 seats the Democratic Party has. So that's a majority by 4 votes. I see 7 currently on that top row. If those 7 said, I am not voting for Speaker Pelosi unless we get a Medicare for All vote on the floor with the debate, there's nothing she could do. She's not getting any votes from the Republicans. And if these 7 joined the Republicans in voting against her, she would not have the votes to get reelected as Speaker. It is that simple. It's just math. She's going to have even less room when the people on the bottom row come in, who have all ran on Medicare for All. I believe Jamal Bowman. I believe Cori Bush. I don't know enough about Marie Newman. I don't know enough about Mondaire Jones. I think Richie Torres is a bit slippery, but they've all run on Medicare for All. So, yeah. I think we have the numbers right now, and we should use it because people should not be fooled. And I think Jimmy knows this. We would lose that vote. We'd probably lose it again the next time. But you don't achieve your ultimate victory without many losses along the way. You think Martin Luther King was like, nah, we shouldn't march tonight. we shouldn't march because it's not going to immediately get us to the promised land. What kind of thinking is that? And by the way, if you've been following, this is just from today. This is what playing ball with the Democratic Party gets you. This is from Common Dreams. In an early indication of which ideological faction of the Democratic Party will control the policy agenda in the upcoming Congress, a House body tasked with deciding committee assignments overwhelmingly voted Thursday to deny progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez a spot on the powerful Energy and Commerce Committee, instead handing the seat to centrist Congresswoman Kathleen Rice. The landslide 46-13 vote in favor of Rice by the House Steering and Policy Committee, which is chaired by House Speaker Pelosi, was viewed as establishment backlash against AOC over her willingness to publicly break with the party brass on key policy matters and criticized Pelosi's leadership, as she did in an interview with The Intercept released this week. But Ocasio-Cortez, a supporter of the Green New Deal and Medicare for All, did receive significant support from the New York congressional delegation in her push for the coveted slot on energy and commerce, which has jurisdiction over a broad array of policy areas, including climate and public health. House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler, dean of the New York delegation, signed a letter in support of Ocasio-Cortez, as did more than a dozen other members. So what this means is they basically wouldn't give her the slot on the committee because she has dared to support primary challengers to Democrats, because she has dared to speak out against Empress Pelosi, Queen Pelosi. So that's what happens when you, even if you mildly rock the boat. So if they're going to backbench you for mildly rocking the boat, if they're not going to give you committee seats because you dare speak out against their policies of neoliberalism, because you speak out against Pelosi, then why don't you fucking go all the way? There's only two choices here. Sell out and work within the system, and then you'll get your committee assignments by not speaking out against Pelosi, by not endorsing primary challengers. Then they'll give you what you want. And on the other end, if you mildly criticize, if you do support primary challengers, they're not giving you they're not going to give you committee assignments. They're not going to allow you to have a say in legislation. So if that's the case, why don't you go all the way with the numbers we do have? Go all the way. We have the numbers. Again, I failed math in 11th grade. We currently have the numbers. If these 7 people, with all due respect, get some cojones. I mean, stop thinking about whether you'll be moved to the back, not get committee assignments. You know who didn't think that way? The Tea Party. And they got whatever the hell they want because they used their numbers to shut shit down. They took political hostages. I'm not saying be a bunch of racist animals like the Tea Party. We're not like them politically and ideologically. But if you have the numbers, which more and more we do, I just showed you, why not use it? We don't have 10 years. Zachary, Jordan, we just have different perspectives. Okay, that's okay. It's okay to have different perspectives. We don't all have to agree here 100%. So that's the deal. To put a bow on it, I hope Bernie, I hope Josh Hawley shut down the goddamn government. Do not give your vote for a continuing resolution unless they give at least a $1,200 check and more in unemployment. And if they want to blame you, if they want to say you are shutting down the government, say, yes, we are shutting down the government until you give the American people more relief during a deadly pandemic. The American people are behind Bernie and Josh Hawley. The polls show it, and common sense shows it. People need help now. Thank you, Chris Garrett, $5 for Jen and fully recoup and return to the coup. Don't rush it. Thanks, Chris. Mike, Jordan, listen to Vicky Blair. She knows what the fuck AOC's deal is. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about, but feel free to email me, info@statuscoup.com. Patrick, $15. Congratulations, Jordan. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, before I go, I want to take your questions, comments, concerns, rapid fire. 740 people watching, so keep it coming in the super chat. Questions, comments, concerns. There's a circle of wolves they keep. If you're not a wolf, you're a sheep, and sheep are only in the circle to be eaten. Whoa, that's dark. Anat, my wife. Yes, that's the immediate accomplishment. What major ramifications does this have outside of the niche echo chamber? Your taxes going up in 2021 as well, thanks to Trump, if you earn less than $70,000. Well, apparently, I've been live for over an hour. Apparently, Trump is about to pardon a bunch of people. If Trump pardons Edward Snowden and or Julian Assange, I will personally come on and cheer him on. He might be a vile, racist, misogynist, sexist, rapist, Islamophobe, but if he pardons Edward Snowden or Julian Assange, which he should, to both, I'll cheer him on. A broken clock's twice a day. Bernard, $5. Are you aware the Fed just relaxed the restriction on stock buybacks for big banks that got COVID bailouts? Any opinion on how this will trickle down? I was aware that the Fed was doing some of that. Trickle down? Yeah, that's trickling down to more yacht sales next year for corporate America. The Fed is a corrupt institution as well, but I don't have all night to get into the Federal Reserve. But yeah, frankly, I think these stock buybacks are criminal, and that's just another thing we need to reform here in the United Corporations of America. Because a lot of this PPP money that was meant for small businesses like my parents ended up going to multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates. And what did they do with the money meant for small businesses? They did stock buybacks. It's criminal and immoral. Absolutely crazy. Mitch, wedding pics? Where have you been? We got married months ago. I posted pics. We need Nina. She's a fighter. Oh, God. If Nina Turner gets elected, from your lips to God's ears, that would be incredible. And I got news for you. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Nina Turner ain't going to have any problem with forcing a Medicare for all vote in exchange for her vote for anything. Pretty sure Nina Turner is not going to be twisting herself into a pretzel to explain why she's not going to withhold her vote for Pelosi in exchange for a Medicare for all. Eric G, $10. Would you like to go on the JD show, let Steph know, and also lose 100, gain 1,000? I'm always happy to go on Jimmy's show. Always. I would say this same exact thing I've been saying on this show to Jimmy, and he would rant and rave at me, and that's fine. I would gladly go on Jimmy's show. He knows that. I've texted him before when I'm on the road covering stories, wanting to go on his show to get a little attention on the stories we're covering that very few are. And he's been nice enough to have me on there about Flint and many other things. So yeah, I'd go on. I'm not like, I don't have anything to publicly hide. I'm not afraid of Jimmy. I mean, he's my friend. I just don't agree with him on certain things, and that's okay. This is really becoming a sickness in the progressive movement, that if you dare to disagree with each other, you're a sellout and a fraud and this and that. Like, grow the fuck up, the people doing this. You're a sellout. You're a fraud because I don't agree with you 1,000%. What is this, high school? You're a sellout. You're a fraud because you're not as angry as me. Like, shut the fuck up, these people. Unsubscribe if you want. I don't really care. You want to be, just live in toxic groupthink? Go watch Fox News if you want to get your views 1,000% validated at all times, or MSNBC. It's okay to not agree on every single thing. It's actually healthy. $10. Jennifer Perlman, happy Festivus, Jordan and Jen. Love and get well, too. Thanks, Jen. Great progressive, ran against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I hope she runs again and beats her. XR6, $2. Nina is our only hope. She has the balls. Yes and no. Never pit all of your hopes on any one politician, right? I think we learned this with Bernie. No one politician is our only hope. With the right politicians like Nina, we need to also get in the fight. I've been saying this and saying this and saying this. We need economic protest in this country. We need strikes on everything from Amazon to the big banks to Walmart to fast food. It's not easy for everyone to do that, but we can't only think in the prism of electoral politics, because it ain't the politicians making the decisions. It's their bosses, the United Corporations of America. It ain't the politicians making the ultimate decisions. So if you hit Jeff Bezos where it hurts, if you hit the Walton family where it hurts, if you hit the CEOs of McDonald's and Burger King where it hurts, Walmart, if their profits go down for 1 week, they'll start talking to their servants, the politicians, and they'll say, you need to give people more because they're hurting our profits. That's how it works, folks. I always use this example because it's the best one I could think of. The Washington football team, it used to be a slur towards Native Americans. The owner said, forever and ever, over my dead body am I changing the name. Then there was organized protest, a pressure campaign on FedEx and other sponsors of the Washington football team. The pressure got so hot that FedEx and other sponsors said to the owner of the Washington football team, if you don't change the name, we're pulling our money. We're not going to sponsor your football team anymore. He changed that name so quick. That's how it works in this country. The United Corporations of America, i.e. Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, who's, by the way, not a patron saint. He's no angel. That's a whole other story. The CEO of McDonald's, Walmart, they don't care about long term. They care about right now. How much money am I making right now? So hit them where it hurts right now. That's why when I'm out there covering these Black Lives Matter protests, and to be clear, I'm a white guy. I'm not telling black leaders how to run their movement. But I have always said, yes, it's amazing to have the bodies out here. The numbers matter. The George Floyd protest, the Breonna Taylor protest, important. Having, millions of people across the country were protesting. Those numbers are important. It raises public conscience. But imagine if with those bodies protesting, you added each one of those bodies' wallets. Imagine that with the numbers, you added their wallets. Meaning, they stopped using Amazon for a little while. They stopped going fast food. They stopped going to Walmart. And I understand for some families, for some people, that's not an option. All they could afford is McDonald's for a lot of people in this country. All they could afford is getting stuff at Walmart. I totally get that. I don't want to minimize. But there's a lot of people that can go without Amazon. There's a lot of people that can go without fast food. Me too. Look at my belly. If you add if you add bodies in the streets protesting, you add their wallets refusing to be patrons to these various businesses, you will get the change we want. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen. You're damn right, Paul, it's not illegal to stop buying stuff. I would love to be covering economic protests. Oh my God, it would give me so much joy to be out there covering economic boycotts. That's what we need, baby. And I think we're going to start seeing that more as it's safer and safer to go out. I wouldn't suggest everybody storm the gates right now. There's a really deadly airborne virus going around. Thank you, Progressive Rocker, $10. I agree. AOC needs to fight Pelosi, but I also wonder if AOC was right to try to get the power of committee before publicly criticizing Pelosi. AOC has talked about trade-offs and even quitting. Tell you the truth, I find it a lot less important than AOC does to get committee assignments and leadership positions in committees. I don't want to minimize it. I'm not there, so maybe she knows more about it than I do. But at the end of the day, you could get the committee assignments. You could even chair the committees. But what does it matter if you are passing progressive legislation or you are passing progressive ideas out of that committee if it's going up the chains of Congress to a speaker who will not allow it to go through, to a president who will not allow it to go through? You could have the committee seats and you could have the committee chairmanships, but until we have the numbers, which again, we're starting to have them, we're starting to build our numbers. We have the leverage right now to block Pelosi from being reelected as speaker if these 7 people actually do it and the 5 people joining them. If they say no, she doesn't win because she doesn't have the numbers without them. It's not impossible. We do have the power right now. So, yeah, I don't agree with her that getting, committee seats is the most important thing. JJ Fording, $5. 100% agree. Progressives need to relax with the purity test and canceling anyone who they disagree with over one policy. Thank you. Because, by the way, that purity bullshit is why that purity stuff is how you stay a minority party. That is how you stay the minority forever and ever. By demanding that people in your own sandbox agree with you 1,000% no matter what. And if they don't agree with you, they're sellouts and frauds and whatever. Jimmy's a comedian, whatever. He just rants and raves. That kind of thinking is not good. Now, if they start disagreeing with you on major things, if they start talking about, yes, we need access to affordable health care, yeah, start calling them sellouts. If they start moving and moonwalking away from actual progressivism, i.e. Elizabeth Warren, yes, call them a sellout, call them a fraud. But if they don't agree with you per se on every little thing or every little strategy, I mean, we're not in high school. This is high school immature thinking. I'm sorry, it is. My wife doesn't agree with me on everything. I don't agree with her on everything. Jen, my business partner, we don't agree on things from time to time. Does that mean she's an enemy of the people? I mean, come on, man. James, $10. Your perspective is on point here. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. All right, folks. Okay, I got that one. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be back. I missed a couple days because my back was hurting, but my back's feeling a little better, thank God. I will be back. If something breaks this weekend, I'll be back. If not, I'll be back Monday. I am working on a little story right now pertaining to the Iowa election fraud. You remember the Iowa caucus fraud? The Shadow app? Remember that? The rigging of the Iowa caucus against Bernie? Well, a little birdie dropped some information for me today. Little birdie dropped some information for me today. And let's just say it ain't going to look good for the Democratic National Committee once I release that information. Just saying. Thanks for watching, folks. Remember, Status Coup will only grow as far as you take us. Please, if you are in a position to. If you're not, we understand. But if you can, sign up as a Status Coup member for as low as $5 a month. $5 a month. We really, really need to grow this. It's the only way we could fund not just me from my home, but us going out in the field where, as far as I know, we are the only ones right now still going out there. It costs money. We got to pay our cameraman, John, Jen, myself, Colin, travel budget. It all costs money. So please, please, please sign up, statuscoup.com.